countries and get it. The number, the 400,000 is easily gettable if you focus on all these 6, 7, 8 countries. So why we need a portfolio? Because we have seasonality. Traditionally we have a very heavy winter season starting from December. Everything gets fills up, and then by come March, April, it dies down. So we need the other markets to come in, the Indians and the Chinese, etc., comes in as well. So we need all these markets to have a balance of the right portfolio and have a basically decent occupancy right throughout. There's no point like we used to have December to April, we have 90% or 100%, and then it comes down to 20, 30%. Then average occupancy for the whole year comes down to 40, 50%. So we need all these markets, and think we shouldn't go to all the markets in the world, but the markets that have been selected, the UK, Germany, France, India, China, Russia, Middle East, and those markets actually make sense for the destination.
Harpo, you want to add something, is it?
Yeah, you see, Himali was talking about the vaccination thing, which I think is very important. But you see, one thing the health authorities must understand, and the tourism board should understand, is that, they are talking of vaccinations over 30 years. Don't forget, there are a lot of people working in the industry, the restaurant industry and the hotel industry, who are below 30. So what happens to them? So where is the confidence for people to come into a hotel when your steward or the barman is less than 30 years of age, who has not got vaccinated? So I think that's very important that we emphasize the fact that the tourism industry per se, the staff, frontliners, are vaccinated. They are even above 18 years of age. That is a very, very vital thing for any local or foreign or anyone for that matter. That makes it a very, very valid point. Otherwise, you are talking of below 30. It will happen at some point in time, but if you open it up now, once the borders also open up and, the locals start traveling into various areas of the country, it's very important that we fast track the people who are below 30 who are in the industry. So I think that's a very, very valid thing. I'm sure Kimali should be able to talk to the authorities on that, because those are things that people will ask. And also, it's also important, to going forward, anybody coming to your restaurant or hotel or wherever, is that, where you have a program where you show your vaccination, that you've got 2 vaccines. For example, local mark. When you enter a restaurant or hotel, where it's a requirement at the reception that you say that you have got your 2 vaccination. So that makes a lot of the confidence factors build in on that. So it's important that we bring that aspect also into the restaurant. I think into the hotels as well, that there is a clear thing that they have been vaccinated, and that there's some proof or QR code or whatever showing that they have been vaccinated. I think that's very important to look at going forward.
Kimal, you want to say anything on that?
Actually,
I know you all are vaccinated.
Yes, Harpo is totally right. Totally agree with him. Anyway, what has happened is that the 30 and above is a plan which will be completed. Then every Sri Lankan would get at least 1 dose. Every Sri Lankan will minimum get 1 dose. With regards to, of course, the essential services, all that, they are getting whatever age. The garment industry is also getting whatever age, irrespective of if they're 21, 22 or whatever. So we also have requested, Harpo is totally right, have already requested that now, for example, the large company called me, actually Shangri-La called, all the people have got over 30, but the people below are not getting. So that doesn't work. Harpo is totally right. So we already have addressed that and said that district by district, whether we can do this, in a sense that Colombo is more different maybe, but at least to get the biggest hotel in a particular district. Now, Habarana, for example, Cinnamon is assisting us. So Cinnamon is giving, everyone is going there to get it. So maybe each district we could get staff to go to one of the bigger hotels in that district and get it done. So that would be more practical for us. Absolutely. And if you all notice that even in the media, you saw that the education ministry was not discussing whether to give children the vaccination. So we are getting there. So we, UK has started doing a trial for 5-year-olds to get vaccinations. So even Sri Lanka, they're discussing that. So we haven't forgotten that, Harpo. Excellent point. Totally agree, and will follow up. And you guys also do the little bit like lobbying for it in a very professional manner. I think that will also help all of us.
Right. Let's take a question that has been posted on Facebook before we go to some of the guests on Zoom. One question that has been asked from Dinush Tyagarajan is if vaccinations given to Sri Lankans aren't valid in certain countries, what is the possibility that Sri Lanka will be on a red list of most European countries?
Yes, that is a good question, and that we have raised that. Now, for example, some of the vaccines that we are giving, some of the European countries are now gradually approving. I know that in Switzerland, for example, I think the Indian government has approached them, the Swiss government, and asked them why their vaccination, which is Covishield, which we also use, wasn't accepted. And then I think there is now some agreement that they will be accepted. So it's an evolving thing. So a lot of countries will negotiate, I suppose, or lobby, or whatever the correct word, to get their particular vaccines accepted. Right. So yes, it's not carved in stone, and I cannot give you a complete answer today. But I know that India, for instance, did approach Europe about their vaccination, which we have also given to some of our citizens.
Another question on Facebook is from Asanga Rodrigo, and he's asking, are there any financial benefits hotels would get from the government to retain employees if the pandemic continues?
Actually, I mean, the hotel industry has about 200,000 people employed. Then you add the restaurants, they have 15, 20, 30 people like that, many people involved. So, we are very much aware of this. And Hotels Association, Sanatupkat actually gave a decent proposal, which we have discussed it also, to have kind of a SPV to transfer what Dilip was saying, the $35 billion, rupees, the outstandings into a sort of SPV, right? And then because these are, otherwise you all are dealing with private banks, right? Public quoted companies. So they are unable to give you what you all are wanting. So I don't have an answer where, yes, I can tell you, yes, I would be happy to tell you. We did the cabinet paper to give a wage support scheme, as you know, last year. It was approved, but implementation we need, because we are not the bank, right? So we need the help of banks, the central bank, the treasury, to implement that. So if that, what Sanat was suggesting, to put that SPV and put all these loans in there and then restructure it, which some countries do that, and I think some of us have done it in our previous careers as well, is that it's possible to do, but then you still do need international funding agency to fund this. Where does the money come from, right? So you'll have to take a foreign currency loan, you swap it to rupees, and in a practical sense, you will have to then pay whatever XYZ banks, you'll have to pay them. You have to take all those sort of the mortgages or whatever guarantees you all have given into this SPV, and this you will be owing money to this SPV. That's what will happen, right? So to do that, there was a discussion actually yesterday, I had to tell you, with the International Funding Agency on this matter. So we are following up on this. We have not forgotten, but that doesn't help the person who asked me the question, because he cannot pay his bills. I know that. So I'm sorry about that. But what is within our control, we are following up and doing it.
Yeah, this Kimari, this problem of banks being given directions by the authorities, by the government, especially to implement certain things, and it doesn't get done. And I know this is something even some small hotels, small restaurateurs have also told me that they're not getting the sort of concessions that they have been promised.
Absolutely. I mean, hotels have staff, lot of staff. You have restaurants, sometimes they are in a rented place, so they can't even give that property. Right. I think for the first time in tourism, we are in communications with the Restaurants Association. I didn't hear them before. I have to tell you. For the first time, we are discussing with event management companies. For the first time, we have given a voice to people who didn't have a voice. So we are talking to people now. There are 54 associations which I talk to daily. They are talking to me regularly. So there are a lot of people who are calling, who are desperate, who we are doing the best we can within our capabilities. Now, the electricity bill, water bill, this has never been done in the history of tourism. We did that. We went to cabinet. for the history of tourism, we never had gave licenses for liquor extended. We did that. We went for moratoriums, which was done before. For the first time, we gave a very small amount, I know, but we still did it. For the first time, we gave some small amount, 20,000 to tour guides and 15,000 to drivers. That was the first time. For the first time, we went to give a wage support scheme. So for the first time, we have done a lot. But I know it's not good enough. It never is going to be. And I don't blame any of you because you all are all in financial trouble. And you have to blame somebody. You have to go and ask somebody. So we understand your pain. We are with you on this. Trust me, we are on your side. And we speak like what you are doing in the industry when we go for these meetings. Trust me, we are the torchbearer. We fly the flag for you. To whether it's for the health, whether it's for financials. We do. Right? So be assured about that.
Let me just take a question that's popped up on our message on Zoom. ICTA is supposed to assist in providing an electronic QR-based vaccine certification for those who have received their vaccines. Is this happening?
Yes, ICTA is making a passport like what I think Harper mentioned before. They are doing that, but we haven't got any details on how they're going to do it and all that, but we will be informed when it's finalized how we will implement it. I would really like to implement it to our tourism industry staff, because if they have it, even their guests, like, with confidence, they can say, look, I'm vaccinated, right? Because currently you have to understand people physically doing this. It is the hotel staff physically having to do this PCR tests and quarantining and all that. It is physically the tour guides who has to wear a PPE in this heat. It's the driver who has to wear this PPE in this heat. So we understand this, right? So that is why we have asked. I mean, you're talking. We asked for the vaccination of tourism even before garment industry. I have to tell you. We collected over 20,000 names and gave it. This is before garment industry. But you have to understand something. Garment industry has been functioning right throughout, while we were not functioning because the airport was closed for international travelers last year, right? So don't think that, they are treated differently or what. If we couldn't bring tourists, we could not bring tourists, right? From March last year till January this year. So not that the government makes distinction like that. It's just that we could not bring tourists while the garment industry functioned, tea industry functioned. So they had to give vaccinations and sort them out because we had to run an economy, right? So we cannot be a dog in the manger, because what happens is when our airport is closed, we had limited vaccines. You give it to an industry that's functioning. But now the airport is open. And as you know, in Hambantota, the first vaccination program started. And now it's going to Habarana and everywhere else, right? So if you tell me that if we can have our vaccinations and we do it ourselves, fantastic. But that's not the way it works. There are different ministries, there are different line agencies. So those line agencies make those decisions. We can request, we can ask, we can demand, we can lobby, right? So, but they make the decisions. So, but we are following up on it.
Like you said, Kimali, it's the health authorities who make the decisions. And I'd just like to ask maybe Harpo and even Dilip and even Mahen, if you all feel that the health authorities are not really consulting you all when it comes to making some of these decisions. I mean, Harpo, you were talking about, the bars being closed, nightclubs being closed and all that. Your proposals or, are these things that are these being discussed with the health authorities?
If I'm to chip in on that, I think, you see, I think the health authorities, as much as they sit with the tourist ministries and SLTDA people, I think they need to engage with, for them to get the ground reality. I think, sometimes even the tourism sector might not actually get the ground reality of the restaurant business. When it comes to a simple thing like this, So I think they need to engage with the stakeholders as much as I'm sure Kimali and them have a lot on their plate, and even inbound operators. So if you can, when discussions are happening of that nature, I think it's important for us to be brought into this discussion to simplify things to them. And because the health authorities are like, for them it's no. That's the first thing. which is fine. But then you've got to simplify things also. I know it's a very tight rope you're walking on, but you need to simplify things and make things more practical, make them understand, because for them it's just, no, it's health. That's it. And you cannot let them rule the roost. There has to be some kind of give and take here. I guess we respect it, and you have to be a little bit flexible here. Like I said from the outset of the discussion, we all have FL11 licenses. So how do they come up and say you can't run a nightclub or you can't run a bar? A bar serves food or a burger or a sandwich or something like that. So it's a FL11 restaurant. How do they say that? And then you have the local police coming at you, saying, you can't do this, you can't. So from a restaurant point of view, even the police are confused, the authorities are confused, because they are going in that saying, you have a bar. No, a bar and a restaurant. So these are things, little things, I think they need to understand. They need to, because you see, the tourists want to come to the country, the first thing they look at, can we visit these places? Are these places open for us? It's not like just going and sticking yourself in a room, in a hotel, They also need to explore the country, see what it's all about, When they see all these clothes, oh no, we shouldn't be going there. We should go there once it's open.
Yeah, if I can come in, I tend to agree with Apo on that. In fact, I think the health department should engage the stakeholders also. In fact, we had a very good meeting this week with the health department, Slito and Tussle. It was very good, and they really understood when we explained to them our problems. Of course, SLTDA has been, I think, engaging them maybe on a daily basis. But I think when we go and talk, we come to the point, and they also begin to realize what our issues are in real life. So I think that's a very good move, and a very good thing that we should engage them more in the future to make them realize and understand what our industry is all about.
With your permission, actually, the last year when the airport was closed, and we were trying to be prepared to open it, and the guidelines will be made, many of the industry, not many, but the Slito president, Hotels Association president were called many times, and the chairperson of the minister's advisory committee was called many times to meet health officials. And the ministry, I was there, Honorable Minister was there, Mr. Hettiarachchi was there. They met the Minister of Health as well as the whole health structure. And I have to say that the private sector kind of walked out saying they are going to give up. They don't want to meet these people anymore. This was last year, I had to tell you. They kind of gave up. But then, since then, I think the health understands how tourism works, and we also understand that how health works. So now we find that there's more better dialogue, and people are giving input to this and this. But sometimes we don't achieve. Now, for example, event management, I'm very sorry for this, because we are allowing weddings to be held with 150 people with 25% capacity, but we say no to events. But what is an event is, in a way, for me, better, because a business event, because you don't kiss and dance and hug. So we should be allowing them. So these are a little bit we have escalated this matter now, because actually we cannot justify it them. So they too, the thing with tourism is that there are so many people impacted. If you take events, there are so many stakeholders impacted. If you take, if you take restaurants, so many are impacted. So we are doing our best to, while balancing not getting or creating COVID, we have to understand that there was 190 people who got PCR positive when they came, which is out of 18,000, which is nothing. It's a decimal. But always health remembers that the first person to have got COVID was a tour guide. We must not forget. The first person in Sri Lankan citizen who got COVID in Sri Lanka in March last year was a tour guide. We may have all forgotten, or some of us may have forgotten. The first person who died in Sri Lanka from COVID also was a tour guide. Okay, these are the people who are with the guests, right? These are the people who are with the guests, right? So maybe health has that in their mind as well. That's how they got it. So so we are working with them, and I'm glad to see that all three panelists here, and I'm so grateful that all three panelists agree that we should work together. We should talk to health. You can individually go and lobby and whatever. Please do that so that we work together and open up Sri Lanka and have a sustainable tourism soon.
With just a few minutes left, I would like to remind our participants, if they want to raise any questions, you can click on the raise hand option and we will put you on. Dilip, what's the future like now? What do you think is going to happen next where the hotel industry is concerned? I mean, we saw a number of new hotels also coming up, and then suddenly, their operations also stalled. I mean, what next for the hotel industry?
And the next one is that, everyone believes in this industry. The reason is that there is about 1.2 billion people in the world who are traveling to various countries. And what we have seen is after a pandemic or any kind of a disaster, any disaster, then the people, it's basically always a V curve kind of a growth that you can see. And we have seen that around the world. And that's the trend, and that's the intuition we all have. And that's why we even talking about it. And that's the confidence we all have. So the tourism industry will bounce back. But the question here is that how long we can survive. It's not easy. So when you have 200 people in your payroll, and when you have to pay your salaries end of the month, and when there's no revenue coming in, you'll really feel it when you have to borrow from banks and pay. So that's a huge issue. I think that issue not only for hotels, but everyone in the entire industry, not only Sri Lanka, rest of the parts as well. So we need to find some solution to how we can actually give some assistance to these people, so that we need these hotels. The hotels can add a lot of value to the whole industry when it comes to maybe a 3-star or a 5-star. It can always actually add that little bit of nostalgic reasons for people to visit. So it's very important to safeguard that industry, and also we have over 200,000 people employed. So to maintain that is very important. So looking at the future, realistically, it's very difficult to predict anything. All the predictions here has actually gone wrong. We had scenarios 1, 2, 3 months, 6 months, even WTO predictions have really not really worked. So it's very difficult to predict. That's what is the reality is. But it's quite obvious that in this year we will not be able to expect a huge recovery as we predicted in 2021. So the prediction is basically when we go back to the pre-COVID area, we're looking at about 2023. 22 would be something which we can come out, but we don't know what's going to happen on the fourth wave, or there's another variation, Lambda, or whatever you call it. And we don't know what variations to come in. So the issue here is this pandemic is not over yet completely. So in that scenario, what is a strategy that we're going to have to survive is something very important to understand. And I think everyone in the industry, maybe a hotelier or DMC or a service provider, has pulled all their strings and all their resources to survive. And somehow I know some people have sold their properties, some people have sold their vehicles. So it's a very serious situation. And recovery is not, I wouldn't expect the recovery to come this year completely. It will be slow and it will take time. And also it's very important that, unless and until we have a conducive visiting environment, people do not want to visit as well. Now, for example, geographically, Maldives is an example that we can take it. They are slightly better off because islands are isolated, but they have and policy. You see the numbers coming into Maldives, but then unfortunately, Sri Lanka doesn't have that isolation process, separate islands. So on the other hand, health authorities also may face an issue of complete relaxation, but without that relaxation, it's no matter how you do promotion, people are going to come to Sri Lanka because people are going to work on it. But in the recent part, what has happened in the last 2 weeks, relaxation is a right step in the right direction. And if you can do that, I believe we will have some positive outcome coming in. But the wait this time is going to be longer than we expected.
Since we're almost at 12 o'clock, we might have to end this soon. Any closing remarks? Maybe we can start with Harpo. And
I think we all need to work together. I think the more we are together, the more ideas come together. We shouldn't alienate ourselves, and I'm happy that SLTD has got so many associations together, which I think is very, very important. Like Kimali said, every day they are learning new things, and that's the only way forward. I mean, from what we have gone through over the last 1.5 years. I think we have come out stronger in our own businesses because we have learned a lot. We have taken things for granted too much as well, and it's new things we are learning. So I think the industry, what has happened is that we all come together as an industry, which I think is the greatest thing out of COVID. And I think we have to stay positive. And the more positive we are, better things are going to happen. That's my party line to all of you guys.
Yes, if I may also, I agree with Thapo. We have to be united. We have to work forward. We have to change the perception about tourism among the locals as well as we go along. I think unity is the most important thing. And also, maybe we should talk more with the SLTDA to see with the health authorities how we can bring down these guidelines and the protocols to a more friendlier way, a user-friendly way than the way it is right now. Thank you.
Dilip, do you want to say anything else, or shall we move on to Kemal?
Yeah. I think fully endorse. I think working together in all the stakeholders is only way forward. I think we should have this dialogue and discussions quite often, and then use our all context and the strategy and the minds together to come out of it, as we have done that in the past.
Ismaili,
Thank you for the opportunity. I totally agree with all the panelists here. Let's work together. Let's do it. Don't think that we are alienating you or not. It's not at all. For us, we are looking to bring foreign exchange into the country. That is the goal. That is the ultimate goal. Whether it is any country, whether it is wherever you come from, that's our goal. We are working on several initiatives, which is on the travel app. We are working on sustainability issues, which I don't have time to tell you, but maybe another time. We are working on experiences with the line agencies, and there are several areas that we are working on. And I think I appeal to also the industry stakeholders, try to get younger generation also involved, who are doing a lot of experiences, whether it is kite surfing or whether it is, all these experiences. I think that we need to incorporate, get them involved in the digital side of things, and embrace digital, because that's the future. I know we have to charge online travel agents going forward for the taxes, but we need to embrace them because they have amazing reach. And the government came into power looking at a people-centric economy. Most of our industry, 75% is SME really. So they are, most of them, working with online travel agents as well. So travel agents, don't think that, Mahen, you made a comment. Please be assured, I want to work with you. I want to work with the Hotels Association. I would like to work with Restaurants Associations and all the associations, because for me and for my team who work very long hours, for us, success is when tourism comes in and when Sri Lanka gets US dollars into our country. That's what, for me, success. It doesn't matter who brings them. Okay, so please be assured you have 100% commitment to make you all succeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimali. Thank you, Harpo. Thank you, Dilip and Mahen. Thank you for taking time and joining us for this discussion. Thank you to all our participants who joined us via Zoom, as well as those who are following on Facebook and YouTube. We hope that the industry will pick up very soon. We hope that things will get back to normal. A big thank you to the Daily Mirror team working behind the scenes to put on this put this production together as well. And till we join you next time with another discussion, have a good day. Bye for now.
Thank you very much. Wish you a pleasant day.
The recording has stopped.